Yo, what is up? I'm Kaizu or Sacred Blade, and this is my experience of playing through Monster Hunter World's base game with no Iceborne moves, i.e. no Heavy Slam, no Perfect Rush, no EI Sheath, etc. Of course, this means no Clutch Claw, Wall Banks, or Tenderizing. So if you enjoy, show some love down below. I took way too much time making this, so yeah, let's get straight into it. So we start off with our character creation, and here we'll be using Valkyrie and Ember. They're beautiful, I know. Now we go through the beginning, meet the handler and the A-list hunters, and then Big Zora comes in, crashes the ship, and then we go through all that. We meet the Great Jaguars, we hide for them, yada yada. We know the rest. So for our first low rank monster, we have the Great Jaguars. And as Great Jaguars is, it's the intro monster, and so it would be the easiest monster. I put straight belt to ass on him, and we go on to our first expedition. I wanted more Great Jaguars parts, so I fought one. But then when it got weak, I chased it through like a bunch of different areas in the ancient forest. End up slaying it, but then there was an Anjanath. I usually give myself one shot or one chance of a feint, or like one feint to fight the Anjanath, but at the same time I didn't really want to fight the Anjanath because I feel like this isn't a true representation of the world's difficulty, but I still fought it anyway, and this happened.
Look out! Your health is low.
Oh yeah, we're good.
Keep your distance and use a potion.
We're not doing that. Nope. So yeah, first feint on the board. So then I rage quit and hop back on immediately, and then I put pure belt to ass on Great Jaguars again like before, but we did not leave to a different area this time. I continued to the new camp. We faced against Kuliaku. It was pretty easy. It's just Kuliaku, you know, normal rock stuff, you know, just hit him with the slinger, normal slinger shot, and he would just drop the rock and just, you know, go crazy on him. Next on the list is Pookie Pookie. Same thing with Pookie Pookie, Baroff, and Geratodus. When it came to Geratodus though, I made sure to make the swax and a little bit of its armor, since, you know, Toby and Anjanath are weak against water. Now, at this point, I felt like it was easy to get mounts, and monsters flinch a lot. That's like one of the two things I've noticed. Monsters flinch a lot, and then they also make it really easy to mount. But granted, this is low rank, so I'm expecting things to be really simple. Now, Tobagadachi's fight felt easier than both Geratodus and Baroff for some reason. I don't know why. Felt like I was fighting Great Jaguars 2.0, but man, it was just fast. It was a super fast fight, and so yeah. Now it's time for the run back with punk ass Anjanath. Anjanath, when it came to it, I beat his ass. I was not playing, bro. I had to spin back for my pride as a hunter, bro. I'm not playing. I was countering. I was doing what I was. What am I talking about? There was no counters, but I was invading. I was just. It was a perfect dance for me, and so I beat him in like 9 minutes. Of course, no feints. Let's go. Now it's time for Zora Magdaros. So, you know, it's the first encounter with Zora Magdaros. You know, we do the whole thing. You know, you try to hit the magma cores, blah blah blah, and oh look, it's Nergigante. It's the monster on the title screen. Yay! Wow, look at him! Whoa! So now we go to the Coral Highlands that was found past the Great Ravine that, you know, Zora Magdaros broke through, and we get to investigating the Coral Highlands. I fought Tsitsuku real quick because why not? Then I fought Paolumu, Radabon, both smooth, simple, easy monsters, nothing too crazy. Then we had to go fight Legiana because we were, you know, in its hunting land. Yeah. I mean, Legiana was a little annoying because of the ice blight, but whatever. Nothing too crazy. I gave my Palico the Pookie Pookie weapon actually, so that made Legiana's fight a little easier since its main ailment weakness is poison. So yeah. Next up was a Doggeron, and you know, Doggeron can be a fierce monster for like newer players, but just be patient, be careful, watch his moves, and like He's a simple fight really, but he's still fun because of his speed. And I wanted to farm the gear and make a whole set with him. I wish he had a swax though. That would be nice to use, but yeah. And then the two next targets after a Doggeron are Raphlos and Diablos, the fire and horned wyvern as it was called, as they were called in the game. So yeah, I decided to fight Diablos first since I hadn't fought them in a minute and I had a bunch of screamer pods, so I just abused them. And you know, it was easy, but it was still a fun fight, low-key, even though I was abusing him with the screamer pods. Raffles was up next, and instead of screamer pods, we used a bunch of flash pods. And he wasn't too bad, but he just kept flying and avoiding my flash pods for some reason, bro. It was just annoying, but we still got him down pretty easy. I felt like Diablos out of the two was a little bit tougher, but overall smooth trailing, smooth trails, smooth rails, whatever the goddamn saying is. Regardless, it was time for Zoromagdaros again. So you know, we face off against them. Oh look, it's the spiky monster on the face of the game again. Cool. And that was the end of low rank. Alright, now we started low rank. We start off low rank with a Pookie in the Wildspire Waste, yeah. And then I was able to fight a Basilgeist later, a little bit later, with low rank a Doggeron armor, and that actually went kinda smooth overall, and I managed to capture it with no feints. The main reason why I captured it was because I was worried about whether he would run or not, so I wanted to just like beat him quickly just to say I beat him. So yeah. Also, I got to see his armor and weapons early, so that's pretty cool. After that, I decided to try something new with this character and get some Zoromagdaros gear so that I can use hidden element, and I could use the hidden element blast for the Palalumu swags. But I kept getting gems instead of ridges, and they say that the ridges have a higher frequency drop, but for some reason I kept getting like anything but the ridges. But I had like 5 Zoromagdaros gems, bro. I shit you not. After I got the gear though, I had to fight high rank Anjanath in the Wildspire Waste. And you know, it was simple Anjanath, nothing too crazy. But the funniest thing I found out during like editing is the fact that my high rank quest time for Anjanath is 1 second slower at 9:38, bro. So yeah, improvement. Am I right, guys? Am I right? All right, now it was time for Pink Rathian, and basically it was just a Rathian, but it can break dance a little bit. Not as much as Gold Rathian, but you know, it got some stuff going on. But the armor does look pretty nice, so I think that was cool. That was nice and cool. Next up was going to the Elder's Recess and sighting like the main 3 monsters that are there: Dodogama, Uragon, and Lavasiaf, those 3. So yeah, that was cool. I went to fight Dodogon because I thought I wanted his armor, but I didn't, and his weapons, no. I wanted to fight another Pink Rathian to upgrade a little bit, and I found the pickle.
What? Hey bro, what the hell is this? It's him! It's a pickle!
Now it's time for the poster boy of Monster Hunter World that we kept getting sneak peeks of on Zoromagdaros' back. Nergigante has become one of my new favorite monsters in the game, and you know, his fight is very simple, no like extra gimmicks, just pure hands, and I love that. Just back and forth, checking your reaction time, it's just perfect, and it made me appreciate him so much that I got his armor and his swags, his starting swags. When I first beat him, actually, I did it in 12 minutes and no feints. Boom!
Elder dragons can be at peace now. Let's go see the Admiral back at camp.
Let's go. And in 19 quests, he did manage to feint me twice, but in like 2 different quests. still, like, on average the times were like 8 to 12 minutes. So yeah, my feint counter would now be at 3, by the way. Cool. Alright, now it's time for the rest of the Elder Dragons. Starting off with Valhazak, since it's one of my favorite. Even though it's considered one of the easiest, he can still be challenging, especially without like the miasma resist or the fluvium resist. His moveset is easy or simple, and overall, like, his laser beam attack is one of the best attacks because he leaves himself wide open. But this one actually took the longest at 12 minutes and 20 seconds. No feints, but I was surprised at this one. Next up, Kushlodora. Kushlodora is basically the Elder Dragon or the version of Rathos. Now, Kushlodora isn't actually that bad, or he isn't as hard or difficult as Nergigante or anything like that. He's just more annoying because of his wind pressure. Like, there's nothing hard about a monster who spams a bunch of tornadoes and gives itself a wind shield. That's not hard, just annoying to deal with. But regardless, I beat it, and it wasn't that bad. I think it was like sub 9 minutes, so that was pretty good. Flash products also help with the flying and whatnot, and poison too, and hitting the head. So yeah. Last and of course not least is Teostra on the list. We dodged the supernovas and we continued to hit the head, and it was actually my fastest hunt out of the 3, so that was interesting to see. So yeah. Xeno'jiiva is the final boss of Monster Hunter World. It's mostly a simple fight with like tremors all over the place, but thanks to the weapon that I gave my Palico, the Rathian sword, whatever it is a poison weapon, which is Xeno'jiiva's main weakness. So that was cool. And with that, we open up to the credits. After watching the credits, we fought Devil Joe for the first time.
Oh my god! Oh my god, is it? Oh! Please, Devil Joe, no!
In the field, and then I also fought the special assignment version. I decided to grind out the gear since I, of course, wanted to try something different that I don't usually do. And then I just started fighting a bunch of monsters, grinding and whatnot. I finally got to HR 50 right in the middle of me doing the Lunanastra quest, and I had to fight a Kirin, and it wasn't that bad, honestly. Even without thunder resistance or full thunder resistance, I got it down in like 14 minutes with no feints, so that was pretty cool. It's just patience. Kirin just requires patience, and be careful of the lightning strikes. Just look out for the lightning strikes on the ground. I finished up the Lunastra quest and somehow survived the unfair supernovas, so that was fun. Oh, and like I forgot to mention before that, I did a Basilgeist quest, that double tempered Basilgeist quest, which wasn't that bad. After we got done with the Lunastra quest line, we got the Temporal Mantle. And yeah, the Arch-Tempered Elder Dragons are considered the hardest in base game, and I think in Iceborne too. But regardless, they have increased health and increased damage, and they usually get like a new mechanic or a new move. I'll give a summary on each of the encounters, and then I'll have full vids of each of them on the channel. Now, I didn't want to do all of these. I didn't want to fight all of them, but I said, fuck it. And mama ain't raised no bitch. So let's get right into it. The first on the list was AT Valhazak. Now, I didn't expect anything to be too bad with him. The main difference with AT Valhazak in normal or tempered is that he has more effluvium. Like, it's so much to a point where I just had to move out of the way, or like move to a different part of the area we were fighting in order to just absolutely avoid it. And I didn't have a lot of miasma resistance. I kind of wish I did, looking back. But he did get a technical feint, but my cat revived me, but you know, revive wasn't a thing until Iceborne, so technically it is one feint. But you know, I still cleared it. So yeah. It was in 25 minutes, one feint, so I didn't think that was too bad. Next up, AT Kieran. Now since I knew it was going to do crazy thunder damage, I knew to put on a level 3 thunder resist decoration and eat the elemental resistance large meal to increase my thunder resist to 23, since, you know, Devil Joe Gear has terrible garbage thunder resistance. So it honestly felt like fighting normal tempered Kieran thanks to all that. Still hit like a truck, but you know, we get past it. Did it with no feints in 21 minutes. AT Teostra felt actually easier than both Kieran and Valhazek. Like, it felt kind of like a normal or a tempered Teostra. It was super easy to dodge the supernovas and all of its attacks in general, and it didn't feel as threatening, funny enough. And I beat it with no feints in 19 minutes. AT Kushladora is the reason why. It's the #1 reason why people hate Kushladora in this community. The constant tornado spam doesn't make this fight hard, just super annoying, as I was saying earlier with normal Kushladora. The wind aura is more annoying this time around for some reason. Like, at least with Kieran, if you have specific attacks like spirit longsword attacks or sword mode swax attacks, you can get through the armor for Kieran, or Mind's Eye even. But for Kushladora, it's like, nah, you can't touch me, you can't touch me, you can't touch me. And the worst part is that the flash pods don't work no more. It is easily the worst, or one of the worst fights in base world, hands down. Maybe if I had prepped a little more, maybe 3-piece Kushladora and windproof could have fixed it, but I don't know. But regardless, Rise version is so much better. We still walk away with no feints though, and we beat it in 32 minutes. Lunastra, 18 Lunastra was next. 18 Lunastra was next, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. It was just annoying because of the wind gust and the blue fire. And I tried using like Slinger Burst, or no, the Slinger Capacity skill to get more crystal bursts from the ground and, you know, extinguish the flames, but it did not do that well. It was not as good as I thought it would be. And honestly, this fight is not much better than Kushladora, but at least Kushladora, at least Kushladora actually Lunastra lets me fight it, so there's that. But the supernova is the worst, and it is such an unfair or cheap attack. It just feels so annoying and cheap to deal with, and I kept farcasting to avoid it, and I was doing good until like she was at like skull symbol, and then the last supernova hit me and I got bopped. I got dropped off, bro. I was so annoyed, bro. So technically I did beat it in like roughly like 30 minutes with one feint, but it was only because of this stupid cheap ass supernova with all the wind pressure that is like annoying to dodge. Like, it's just no. AT Xenojiva. Now this fight challenged me the most out of all of them. On my first attempt I timed out, on my second I just rage quit, and on my third I beat it in 25 minutes at least. And I think I beat it in 25 minutes because of the trimmer resist I put on. The thing about Xenojiva is just the amount of trimmer resist and the shortened timer from 50 to 30, which I don't like. Like, here's a slight hot take maybe, but I do not like monster fights in Monster Hunter that have shortened timers, but then they do a bunch of time wasting attacks, like AT Xenojiva's trimmers and Savage Omega's mustard bomb spam, or an MRV spam. Like, that just wastes time on an already shortened timer. That's annoying. So I don't like that. I don't mind it with Fatalis, because Fatalis will run those hands with you. He will fight you. He will say, alright, what's up? Let's do this right now. The other two just like, I'm gonna waste a bunch of your time. But you know, I adapted, and this monster actually made me switch my gear around after fighting it once, so hey, AT Xenojiva was technically the hardest out of all of the ATs for me. Huh, weird. I didn't expect that. AT Zora Magdaros is literally just a Zora Magdaros. but it has more health. Destroy magma cores, beat Nergigante. Mind you, the Nergigante wasn't even tempered, so he was just a tickle monster. But anyway, just spam cannons and then spam Dragonators, or use Dragonator, spam cannons, and just use heavy artillery and maybe part breaker. And it did do some damage to the barrier. I mean, the barrier was kind of like leaking. It was low health, but we still beat it in 21 minutes. So yeah, just Zora Magaros, but more health. Weird. AT Nergigante is hands down the best fight in Monster Hunter base world. Like, the sheer aggression and speed that AT Nergigante shows, it feels like a back and forth, something like Yuta versus Ryu. And it just felt like this, just pure hands, no bullshit, no wind pressure, no tremors, no none of that, pure hands. And he gets one new attack where it's like he does like this overhead slam, but it just feels fun and fair. And if you're on top, or if you're on it, like, you can just dodge it. It is so good, bro. It's such a decent fight that it is literally in my top 5, or no, top 3 in base Monster Hunter world. Might even be top 1. Now, with all that being said, after replaying World with no Clutch Claw as if I was playing since day 1 of the game as a kid in 2018, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it was actually fun. The main thing that made World, or makes World more difficult than both base Rise and Wilds, is just the slight increase in damage and health of the monsters. I think World is a solid game for what it has, and it does have an increase in difficulty compared to the other two, but it was still easier to do certain things. And honestly, the monsters in World aren't as bad and aren't as crazy as people try to say online, in my opinion. And honestly, the end game is very comparable to the difficulty of Wilds. Like, fighting tempered Teostra, Kusladora, and Kirin felt like I was fighting like 9-star Seregios and 9-star or 10-star monsters. Actually, the 10-star Arch-Tempereds honestly feel on par with each other when it comes to difficulty, actually. Granted, I'll give the AT Elder Dragons a slight bump, or a slight I'll put them slightly ahead in difficulty, like a slight bit compared to the AT Apexes and Wilds, but it's only slight, and it's only by a little bit. But to me, Wilds in-game, as far as difficulty, is very comparable to Worlds in-game as far as difficulty. And honestly, I think World's difficulty isn't crazy, in my opinion. But it still is the hardest out of the new gen Monster Hunter games. I'll give it that. But regardless, if you enjoyed, show some love down below, and thank you for watching. I took way too long to make this video, so I really hope you enjoyed. So yeah, share it with a friend, and peace. So here's the faint counter, or at least my estimated faint counter.